Content over everything.
To evaluate the existence of God.
But what would that take as proof? Because God is defined as being metaphysical. Reason is limited. We know reason is
Sorry.
give you mathematical
God
proofs.
is metaphysical.
Correct. Not of physics. Or the layer above.
He is the hierarchy of all hierarchies.
So the God, the creator, is above us. We can't probe it using the physical.
So isn't the
So, for example, I assume you're a Sikh, sir. So, a man of dharmic faiths will believe in that the universe and God in its entirety.
what's the difference between superstition and a God?
Well, it depends what you mean by superstition.
So we can make up a God.
Correct.
How do we differentiate?
What I see in you, sir, is all these reasoning and all this thinking and all this stuff is because you're searching for something that your reason cannot find.
You're inferring that I'm searching for
But you're
something.
talking about God all the time.
I'm just want you to substantiate your claim of a God.
Yeah, but how would I say? I've told you that reason and logic is insufficient. If I gave you some words that
Didn't
were
your
logical,
God give me those?
yes, but reason itself
Faculties.
correct, but they're insufficient to probe God.
So
because
why didn't he give me the proper faculties?
But why he's given you a way to find God.
How's that?
As a Christian, you can do it through the fruits and the spirits of accepting Lord Jesus Christ.
Spirits?
If you're a Sikh, you have the 5 virtues and your 5 vices. You have the teachings of the gurus, and they will tell you how to get close to God.
Superstition.
Logic and reason.
Human beings are very superstitious.
And that's what
And
allows us,
in all
and that's what
cultures-
allows us to survive,
All cultures have superstition.
which is why they survive.
Is yours not superstition?
What element are you talking
Your
about?
rhetoric.
My rhetoric.
Yeah.
I try to make sure that what we believe in has as much objective truth as possible. But if there's areas that we can't explain, then yeah, we would have to just
What
make up
method do
things.
you use to find out objective truths?
But you see the problem you have, and let me help you out, because I'm a huge fan of maths, science, computing, and philosophy. Reason, objectivism, is based on 2 things: evidence and reason. Evidence is how you see the world. We know from physics,
Yeah.
at 10 to the minus 34, we can't distinguish space and time. So you can only see the world so close. Reason, logically, all the 18 rules of propositional logic, we know any future logic you use to reason are mathematically incomplete for truth. So this thing you value as objectivism is limited. You're surrendered. You're being kept in a box of your mind that's saying the only thing I have is what I see and what I think.
But
what I see and what I think is
your God
insufficient.
gave us senses.
Right? He gave us everything.
Your God gave us senses to evaluate the realities of the
But
universe.
that senses are fundamentally limited.
But you
You have to accept, you have to surrender your ego to the
I
fact that your
don't.
brain is
I
not.
don't.
Yeah,
Your
I know.
God
Resistance.
gave us
Yeah.
senses.
Right.
And then he gave us insufficient senses.
He gave us the difference between good and bad so that we can choose.
There's not a flaw in his system.
No, it's deliberate. By
It's
design.
deliberate. He's playing with us.
Look at what it's doing to you.
He's
Look at what
playing.
it's doing to you, sir. It's making you constantly reason and question. He's
that's-
giving you a way to question so you may
But it's
find
my
a
brain.
journey. Correct.
Your claims.
Which depends what you mean by proof.
You said God has given us the ability to choose between right and wrong.
Yes.
Is there a Bible verse to back that up?
There are all sorts of Bible verses on morality. But I don't need a Bible. If I was a Muslim, if I was a Christian, if I was a Sikh, I could find my different
Let's go on about your God.
interpretations.
Your God.
There is
Did
only
he
one
give?
God.
Yeah. Your God.
So where is that proof?
Yeah, 1 second. But what do you mean by proof? What do you mean by the word proof?
Well, you can't just make a statement without backing it up.
I like proofs a lot. I'm a theoretical
Yeah, so you can't make a
what do you mean?
statement without backing it
Yeah,
up.
but what does a proof mean to you? Do you know that all mathematical proofs are nested inside
But at
mathematical
the moment,
proofs?
all you're giving us is your opinion.
Yes, but what I'm trying to say,
Yeah.
you want to prove.
So that opinion, what is it based on?
So let me tell you, when you look for
And can you show us that
Sure.
that document or that
Can I do
document?
one question at a time, and I'll just fire that. So when you use the word proof mathematically, a proof is a manipulation of logical predicates. Those proofs create what we call logic. Those logics mathematically are nested in what we call trust. All proofs and all logics are nested within mathematical trust that is inherently limited. This was proven mathematically. There's no system of logic in your head, including ones you've not invented yet in the future, that will ever be able to deliver truth. You are surrendering yourself to the supremacy of reason but reason is not supreme. Reason is necessary, but it's sufficient, but not sufficient. I can give you proofs in mathematics that you can't reason about.
Sufficient.
So reason is what you have to
reasoning-
let go of in this ego.
Sufficient reasoning.
So like I've said already, all you're giving us is your opinion.
No, I'm giving you formal science.
Okay. And
Do you
what
know
is
much
that?
about, because you ask about proofs, I'm trying to help you. Do you understand how proofs work? So give me an example. Do you
There's
know
lots of
Can you tell me
proofs.
the proof that the sum of the angles of a triangle is 180? Do you know how to prove this? Do you know any proofs in mathematics? Any proofs? Because you want proof, and I'm trying to understand if you know what proof is. I know what proof means. You're looking for proof, and I'm asking what do you mean by proof?
Give me your definition of a proof.
A proof is something that has closure according to axioms and logic. Let me give you an example. If I say every number can be added with another number, and I call that rule induction, then I can make rules about whether they're infinite numbers, finite numbers. I can use those rules of logic to prove something. So in logic, there's only 18 rules. All logics have, predicate logic have 18 rules. They are insufficient.
So,
That's been proved.
yes. So,
That's been proved. So the
your
main
God
message here is
gave us
Yeah.
faculties
correct.
to
Limited to
evaluate
the world, yes.
reason.
No, not to evaluate reason. Reason is a process for evaluation. So if I said if the traffic light is red, then
Okay,
stop.
so according
if
to
the
the
traffic light
dictionary-
is one second, if the traffic light is amber, get ready to go. If the traffic light is green, go.
Sufficiently
So all these
reasonable.
Yeah, but these reasons we understand this in mathematics and physics. We understand this.
Let me quote something.
So according to the dictionary, so this is not my opinion. This is not your opinion.
Are you an atheist?
Okay, yeah, I'm waiting for you.
I'm a human
According
being.
to the
No, no, but are you, you're not believing God, I'm assuming.
I'm a
Are you
skeptic.
not going to read
Oh,
out what
okay,
you
that's
have?
fine. I didn't realise that. Just trying to work out what
You're
Tell us
claiming
what your-
something.
No, you were going to tell me
Substantiate
what it
that
says. You
claim.
know what it says.
Okay, so according to the dictionary, the word proof means something presented in support of the truth or accuracy of a claim.
Okay.
So you've made a claim. Where is your proof?
My claim is this, that the proofs and logic are limited.
Now you're just playing semantics on the
Type
word.
in, no, I'm not. Type in.
Simple question.
So do you want to actually understand the answer? You're just going to like ask me questions
No.
without trying to understand.
Now at the moment we're just
Because what you
working
just-
with. At the moment we're working with your opinion. We've gone to a dictionary, and this is the
Correct.
standard
Yes.
definition of the word.
The word in common English, not technically. In common English.
So now you're just playing around with words.
No, I'm not. If you can keep
Oh,
doing it,
okay,
not
do you
much
wanna
of a
stick-
conversation.
do you wanna stick
type
to the-
in, Type in.
No, we're typing in proof.
Yeah, but type in. Okay, after proof. Type in.
No, not
Gödel.
after proof. Now.
Are we good? I'm not here to heckle you. You'd heckle me. I'm not interested in. You're not really keeping my interest very long. I'll give you a couple more goes. Type in Gödel's incompleteness theorem. Godel. No, you won't. Okay, thanks. So carry on. Right?
Well, it's been like 1 plus 1 equals 2, but according to string theory, that's not necessarily true.
All predicates in reason are limited, and the
In
most
binary,
famous-
yeah? No problem.
not in binary, particularly in the Turing machine, which represents all binary. Gödel studied at Einstein in Princeton, created at Princeton Gödel's incompleteness theorem. It tells me all proofs, all mathematical systems, including ones we don't know about in the future, can never show you truth. And then he proved it.
So,
So
you
proof is
prove-
insufficient.
can you show me evidence of your God?
No, again, I don't. I mean, we do this 4 times. You don't have the ability using reason. You have to let go of reason.
Let go?
Yeah, because that's the
Of
only
my
thing you're
faculties?
holding. Yeah, not your faculties. You have to let go of it being supreme. You're giving it supremacy over the
you've got
soul.
to think outside the box a little.
Well, sometimes overthinking
Okay, so-
things is a
okay,
disadvantage.
So any good Muslim will understand this. any good
Submit.
Christian will understand.
So since you love playing
Yeah,
on the word,
submit.
I will
on
not
words,
submit.
I've got one for you. The word
What
God
is an
actually
atom
means
made of?
supreme
Atom.
being.
What is it made
So
of?
which
made of?
supreme being are you talking about?
Particles.
Yeah, what are particles?
So which one?
What do you mean? The only one called me.
So
Okay, so which one?
What are they made of?
But again, I mean,
going
we do this
quantum
silly thing
field
out of-
now.
Yeah,
No,
that's
it's
not
not
the-
silly.
we
The
don't
word-
know.
the word-
We
There
don't
are
know
some
about
things
it.
you'll never know.
We never know.
So
We can't
some
work it
things
out.
we'll never know.
Yeah.
We can't work it out.
I'm
It's nonsensical.
It's not
The name
nonsensical.
of your God.
We
is
have
just
our
God.
greatest brains looking
I'm a
into it.
Christian. So
Yeah, but they
you
can't.
know
They're
anything about
baffled.
Christianity?
They're not baffled.
Have you heard of the double slit experiment?
Why don't you tell me, what does that
So,
word mean? What
where
does it mean?
particles seem to have a mind of their own.
The word
Yes.
Christianity. What does it
Quantum.
mean?
Yeah, but they can't
Follow
explain.
Christ.
The quantum world
Could you-
works differently.
And where
Yeah,
is
but
that
why
definition
don't-
come from? Where does it come from?
It's in the word.
Because it
No.
does.
That
It
definition.
just sort of seems like
Christ.
it
Follow
goes into
Christ.
like down
Are you-
a rabbit hole.
Christian, you said like
It may do,
I would like to have a back and forth conversation.
I don't find God there.
I'm trying very nice. But you
Is
don't
God
get
in
to
this
come here and answer
bottomless
my
pit of
questions.
rabbit hole?
We don't, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying science goes down there.
Yeah, but science is just an observation of things.
Yeah, but all I'm saying is come to a point where it doesn't make sense no more.
No.
Like,
So
like
the greatest
Einstein's
brains
So I go back to this
looking
conversation.
into it.
yeah, they're looking into it.
Yeah.
But they can't
seems
find
to
an
me
answer.
that it seems to
It's
me
not
that
they
you have a
can't
lot to
find an
say,
answer.
but you don't have nothing to back
Further
up.
investigation. They didn't stop. We're further looking into things.
You don't even know
the
the word, what
greatest
the word
of brains.
Christian means.
So what do you think the lowest particles made of?
You have no definition
know.
of the
I'm
word.
not- I'm not
but
a
you go
particle
around using
physicist.
it, and then you go around
I'll wait
asking
for them
people
to
what
come up
they
with the
are, but you
answer.
don't even know what it
Because
means.
thousands
You
of
can't
years
find a
ago,
definition
they
anyway.
thought a rainbow was the hand of God. No?
There's nothing to thank me about. It's just a word.
So
Either you
science
know what
is
it
always
means
pushing
or
the
you don't.
boundary.
Either you know where to find the definition or you
How,
don't. There's
how
nothing
would you
to
say
thank me about.
Einstein's theory of relativity?
Once again,
It's just
I'm not a
common sense,
physician.
basic.
Yeah, but
physicist.
these are the questions you need. When it comes to science, these are the questions that are important.
I am not a quantum physicist. I don't know.
Not many people are.
No, but Einstein's theory of relativity, that says time's an illusion.
It's inseparable from space. So the Lorentz transformation says time will dilate as I move at a different speed.
Yeah. So what that says is, if there was a big bang and there was actions and reactions from point dot, and it started, then how does, if time is not real, so and change measures time, so everything's changing. Like today we're here,
The arrow of time, yeah.
arrow of time. So how can the universe be real when time is not real? How can the universe be real if time is
It's an illusion.
Yeah, it's an illusion. This universe must be an illusion then. It must be created by something.
Well, you're inferring it is,
Well,
but all we have is our faculties, and it seems real.
You have to think beyond those faculties. You have to think
So-
outside the box.
We do think beyond the box. What is beyond the box? Have you concluded there's something beyond the box?
Well, all I can say is when I look at science, it seems to be, just on the theory of relativity, it's saying that, either we live in a block universe where everything's already happened, so that doesn't conform to science, does it? That conforms to something.
So once
something
again,
else.
in the quantum world, it works differently.
Yeah, but the quantum world, we have the quantum world though.
Yeah, it's
Everyone
on
made
the
up one.
macro,
Yeah,
but in the
but-
micro, it works different, no?
It does, but we're still formed of that universe, aren't we? We're formed of it, aren't we?
Where does God come into that?
Well, this is it. If science can't prove it, then if time's not real, then there must be something else.
That's all right.
That
You're
time cannot be
inferring there's
time.
something else without reaching what it is.
So do you believe in the Big Bang theory? Do you think it all
It's
started from
reasonable to believe.
Okay.
We have our greatest brains working on it, and their model has come up with the Big Bang. It's reasonable for me to believe.
All right, you see in nature there's always similar patterns, like, there's always like,
Yeah, regularity, yeah?
the golden ratio
Yeah.
and all that stuff. So it definitely seems possible there was a creator that has that.
Who mentioned a creator?
Well, what is God?
You mentioned that a pattern evolved from a creator.
But where would it come from instead?
Where would it come from? Infinite possibilities of where it came from.
Entry?
The quantum world,
What does that mean?
vertical particles,
What does that mean? How does a particle create the universe?
What is a particle? What is a
something out of
particle?
nothing.
What is a particle?
So what is your opinion on the subject?
universe?
Since that's all you've got, opinions.
I believe in God, Queen, and contrary. I believe that
We
God's
say
laws
get all
unfold.
the humans in the world.
You just make random statements. God,
I understand that, but the quarks,
Which God?
up quarks, down quarks, all of,
where do you find a definition of this God? Where is it defined?
it works very differently to the
That's what we're
normal
seeing right here. Right?
realms.
We're seeing
Yeah,
the 14
have-
words decimation in front of our eyes.
In the
How James Joyce
smaller,
Waltman.
Got someone?
So where does God come into
I
this?
don't have a light that's... Yeah, I got a light.
And they're right. Everything's particles.
Jaden,
Everything's particles. Isn't it?
Yeah,
In
we're
a
made of
certain-
particles,
in a certain
atoms,
order.
yeah.
You're no different from
The tree, everything.
everything.
We are part of the
Carbon,
universe.
Yeah. So the only thing that's not part of this universe is the ability to think, the conscience. the way I see it.
Aren't we in the universe? Isn't our conscious in the universe?
Yeah, but our particles are just the same as anything else. But the only thing that's not is the mind. Where does the mind come from?
Where does the mind come from?
What's the ability to think?
It's not working.
We have our greatest neurosurgeons looking into it.
You can't look into it. You know.
No.
You can't find it.
He's an Aryan. He's an Aryan.
Science, but a new.
Found an Aryan.
New science. It's relatively new.
Plato asked about the mind.
You can ask about the mind, but it's a big thing.
But you see, can I ask you a question, sir? If
Yeah.
you spend all this time using your faculties of reason and logic,
Yeah.
and you keep searching for something, and you can't seem to find the answer, that should tell you that your reason and faculties are not your only way of being. There's
disagree.
another way.
I disagree.
you think
Just
you're
because we
my-
can't find
Well,
out something,
there's
we have to stop.
There's actually a process called trial and error. It's a process.
Which is what, part of the scientific method?
It's part of common sense, actually.
Okay, yeah. So trial and error is
Sometimes,
just riddled with
what
flaws.
you say if it's common sense for you to just shoot yourself with heroin? Because what's the point of anything?
Is that common sense?
Yeah, in many ways.
To shoot yourself with heroin?
If you don't believe in anything greater to give your life purpose, then why wouldn't you? We're just bags of atoms floating on gas. What's the point?
If you allow me to add to that comment, it seems to me like the words that you're speaking is just based on random opinions, because you still haven't given us
Random
proof of this, like this God that you're talking about. Where do we find this God? And what gives you the authority?
We don't need proof. It's a tried and trusted.
No,
It's a
no,
tried and
no.
trusted way of having
No, you're
groups
making
of
a
people
claim.
survive.
You are
Look
making
at
a
history.
claim.
Look at history. All nations survive because they believed in something greater than themselves, whether they had proof or not.
All nations.
All nations or tribes.
Chinese?
Yeah, Chinese. They
They have
had.
a god.
Yeah.
Sorry? What's the Chinese god?
So right there, you've just declared that your God isn't much, because if you're saying that all nations can depend without
The
your
Chinese
God, which is literally what you
I'm
just said.
not advocating everyone believes in my
Well, you've
God.
just said.
I'm just saying that it's important for all nations to have a belief in
But
something
who
greater
is
than
this
themselves.
God that you keep talking
The
about?
way you're bringing the argument is that you're saying prove there's a God. But what I'm saying is, well, science, it's nonsensical. It doesn't make sense. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but you can't. That's a bold statement.
I'm going down.
Essentially, what you're
so
saying.
You're saying you should prove there's a God, and whereas I'm saying that you should prove that there's a root in the quantum world. Why we're here.
No. I'm not saying prove there's a God. I simply said, what is the name of your God? That's a fair enough. That's a fair enough question.
Yeah, but-
And then he came up and said, all nations that are what?
Look,
They survived. Right. So
Yeah,
therefore,
because-
you're declaring that your God isn't much.
No, because
If-
because it all serves the same purpose. You know, if you believe in something greater than
Okay,
yourself,
so what
then
is the name of your God?
It doesn't need a name.
What if I said his name was XYZ? Would it make a difference to you?
What does he do,
So
this
the
god
name
of
of your
yours?
Christian God is
You're
XYZ.
still questioning.
The name of your Christian God is
If it was, my
XYZ.
question was,
No, but
what
you keep
difference
asking
would
the
it make?
same question.
No, I don't. What does your god do?
Because I'm trying to establish a common ground of where you're coming
God
from.
doesn't.
And I don't think you know
God
where you're
could
coming
be
from.
many things.
That's just my
Give
simple
me one
opinion.
thing that he is.
It's good.
And what does he need worshipping?
Okay.
The God of the universe
God doesn't
needs
need us. We
worshipping.
need God.
I don't need
But
God.
which God?
Okay.
The Greek God.
You say
The
that.
Viking God.
All right.
Yeah, they all
No.
serve the
Okay.
same purpose. Yeah, they all serve the same purpose.
But
tree God.
like earlier
Yeah,
on,
they could
but earlier on
potentially
he
say
said there's
God.
only one God. But now you're saying there's a Greek God, there's a Chinese God,
Moon God.
But then he's saying there's a one God.
Right, but the point, yeah,
So
but the
what
point-
is the common ground?
God?
The common,
and what do
the
you
common
stand on?
ground is that we're not nihilists, thinking that
You mentioned nihilists.
because if you don't believe in something greater than yourself, then you basically think you're God.
According to who?
No,
That
because
makes
nihilism.
that makes no sense.
Nihilism comes
Are
from
you
Latin.
sure about that?
Yeah, but
Does God believe in God?
Yeah, do you?
What is? Yeah, I do. What does nihilism
Can you
mean?
define it?
Yeah, but what do you think nihilism means? Before I tell you mine.
When you don't care about,
Literally from Latin of nihil, of nothing.
yeah.
Right, of
But I
nothing
care
this.
about things,
No,
so
no,
that
no.
He
doesn't
cares
make
about
me a
the world.
nihilist.
I said he
does.
cares about the
I'm
world.
a humanist. I care for the fellow
You're a
man.
humanist. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that.
And,
That's a good start.
and correct me if I'm wrong.
Why
but
did
you're-
your God flood the earth?
Because
Moral
because
choices.
No,
because-
but his God has no name, so his God didn't flood the earth, right? Because
Why
his
did
God
he kill
Zeus.
all the animals?
Because of good and evil.
Yeah, but the flood though.
And furthermore, you
He
know when you
drowned all the
pronounce the
animals,
name
what
of
did
your
they
God,
do?
you pronounce it with a capital G.
God doesn't have to have the same morals that we have
So
nowadays.
your God is immoral.
No. Our God, it needs to be an alpha male, like a lion.
Your God makes people burn.
Yep.
Hail Jamie. Hail Jamie. Pure patriarchy.
Yep. We need to install
Pure
fear into the
not.
population.
Loving.
It doesn't matter. At least the
No,
tribes
it
survive.
matters. You said your God is all loving.
God bless you.
It depends on what your definition
He
of love
lets
is. Sometimes you have tough
children
love. Tough
suffer.
love. Yeah, tough love.
Etna taking on the crowd.
Listen, right, if this universe, if our lives were so happy,
Sorry?
if our lives were so nice, everyone were nice to each other,
Utopian.
yeah, utopia. That'll never happen. Because there's no
It
point
happens in
living.
heaven.
Well, yes, whoever believes in heaven.
So I have a
in
sincere
utopia.
question for you. If you only believe that there's reason and experience, shouldn't you not be thinking and speaking about God? Why are you worried about God?
Because you lot keep telling me about God.
Yeah, but you should ignore us, shouldn't you?
No, it's not possible.
No, you should ignore us. Why are you drawn to
Religion is the
Hang on a
traditional
second, why are you drawn to it?
traditional.
But why are you personally? Why are you
When I
drawn
was
to
young,
this?
they made me go to church.
That was going to be my follow-up question. Were you of faith?
They made me go.
That's why
They made
you
me
said.
sing silly songs.
This is it.
We have this.
Didn't
God.
want to
Yeah,
do it.
Nietzsche wrote
God
about
without
exactly what
me.
you went through. Nietzsche
You
wrote.
forced me to do
I
something
strongly urge you
against my will.
I strongly
You choose to
urge
be
you to
born?
read Two Peaks by
Did I
Nietzsche.
choose to be born?
Yep. So you were forced into life.
What kind of Christian is that?
Well, you're complaining that you had to go through some rituals that you didn't like to do, but we all have to follow rules that we don't like.
Yes, we
because
do.
Exactly. So
now-
having a ritual system it gives us a good mindset of
No, it
cohesion
doesn't.
and group
No,
conformity.
it
We
doesn't.
need group conformity.
Now I've
otherwise
grown
it
up.
becomes chaos.
Now I've grown up and see what it's all about. It's very cultish.
Yeah, no, I went through the same process. I grew up as a Catholic, hated
They
the
pulled
process.
down my trousers.
Then I
So
They
what do you
smacked
really?
me.
So I appreciate because a lot of people have lost their faith, have been through personal
Good.
traumas
Based
like
on-
that. They didn't like something that happened when they're young. They made you go to Sunday school.
Traumatized me.
They're traumatized, and eventually you'll find that to come back to that spirit that was there,
Come
inside
back
you,
and get rid of it.
come back to it, and come
And
back to the center of the
persecute
spirit,
all Christians.
You're going to have to forgive what happened to you as a child.
No chance.
Then you're going to
Persecute
but then you're going to hold on to
Christians
that resentment in
for
your
their
heart.
fairy tale
You're
stories.
going to hold that resentment. in your heart. You can't
Massive. Where the Christians are having children, they're gonna win the battle group selection.
And they made me do something I didn't want to do.
Yeah, but it's like that's confusing.
Confusing to do.
I just think you're
Sing this song.
I was forced not to bugger children.
Doing that to young children.
Okay, that's a different argument, isn't it? That's a different argument.
You're indoctrinating me to believe in something I don't believe in.
Yeah, but you don't have to believe.
Yeah, it's a
When
good,
I was young,
it's a good compromise.
When you were young.
when I was
Yeah, you
young,
were traumatized, Kenny, by
you
it.
manipulated my mind
And you were
to
traumatized
believe
by
in
it.
a God. That's not very merciful. That kills animals and burns people.
Yeah, but that's a human moral judgment, right?
That burns people.
It's a human moral judgment.
So where does God's
Your morality now must be, if I
Is
urge
your
you,
God
if I urge
moral?
you, yeah, I hear. If I
You have a
urge
child.
This is the
they
same
do
person who
something
believes
wrong, would you
that,
burn
that
them?
everybody of colour should be deported.
That's what their God does.
This is the same person who believes that everybody of colour should be deported.
have a religion piece.
I don't even understand why people are chatting to
We are children of God,
Yeah.
and if we disobey Him,
What?
He's going to burn
You're
us.
already hurting inside. I can see
Of
it.
course.
I can see in your
I'm
eyes.
hurting
Yes,
that your
because of what
God
happened to you.
has no morals.
No, what happened to you?
He's a moral
No,
thug.
that's not why you're hurting. I can see in your eyes. You're
Is
hurting
your
because of what
God a
happened to you when you were
moral
younger.
thug?
Yeah, no, not a moral thug.
So why is he
That kind of
burning
language
people?
doesn't help. Right?
No, it helps.
Is that
Why
the
is he
humanist-
burning
Is that your
people?
humanist value system? Is that what the humanist?
Can you answer my
can't
question?
No, but my question
Why is your
is.
God burning
Yeah,
people?
But you see, but
I
does
think
your
that- I think-
humanist
I think
give
that
us
belief in
this
hell is
man
quite
that's
a
hollowed
new
out because it
thing.
No,
doesn't
you're right.
believe
You're
God?
coming from the wrong
It's
angle.
a new thing.
Yeah. They didn't. Christians didn't always believe
So
that.
let me get this straight. Your God has been
That's
around
really it.
all, for eons, but
Diversity
yet
is a strength.
a
I
belief
already
in
said
hell is a new thing.
people have lots of different interpretations of God.
People like you,
Yeah,
who
and
just
I'm-
go around dishing out their opinions without backing it up.
Well, you're doing the same.
No, I'm not. I can back up everything I'm saying.
All right, so
From the book.
you can prove there's no God.
No, you said that.
Yeah, we're not claiming that.
You said that.
All
There
right.
might be a God.
Have you ever considered returning?
You have to prove it.
Yeah.
I don't have to.
Well,
because
those
to
words
myself,
came out of
no
your mouth.
chance.
I don't have to prove that God
Right,
exists.
so why you, like I said,
I'm
Ever
all I'm
since I
saying,
got
all I'm
here-
saying is religion is a component
ever
of
since I've
survival.
got here, all I've
Religion
heard
is a
I will
from
component
both
never
of you
serve your
is
God.
opinions, and you
Never.
can't back up
Is
any
it,
of the
opinion,
claims.
is it an opinion that people who believe in religion tend to...
Why don't you let us know and back
Tend
up
to
your
judge
claims?
people.
I look at history.
Let us know.
Atheism had
No,
many,
no, no.
Atheism
So-
had many chances to survive. It doesn't.
Atheism.
Yep. Atheism just doesn't lead to anything
You make a bold claim that you're a Christian.
what do you-
Yeah,
I'm not
you
a
don't.
Christian.
You're
but,
why?
I am a neo-pagan.
So you think that you still
No,
believe in
because
something?
when I say neo-pagan, people think, oh, you just believe in the trees or whatever. But no, I believe that the Bible is part of an older scripture that is starting to be reconstructed, and it's proven that the flood did happen and other things. So the more research we do into
So
these
in
things,
a nutshell, you don't really know what you believe in.
I got an open mind, but I'm seeing the evidence being drawn to a certain
Open
direction.
mind.
Yeah.
You have an open mind that rejects anything that's contradictory to what you believe.
You say like,
My
How's it
issue
contradictory?
was,
You
if
just said
God
you've got an
is
open
forgiving
mind.
and merciful
Yeah, I've got an
and
open
all
where's your
those
open
things,
mind
And
to
when
his
I was
beliefs?
confused,
Whose beliefs?
Him as a
you must
human.
understand
Yeah, I
my
understand
confusion.
why
Why
he's,
you just said-
I understand why he's a
And not
humanist.
send
Doesn't
No,
mean
no,
help
but you
for
just said
not
you've got
knowing.
open mind, but yet you reject his claim.
Yeah,
But
because
all
humanists
Christians ever said to me
have
was,
You
no,
can't have an
you
open
must
mind and then
believe,
add
you must
because
repent.
at the end of the sentence.
Because humanists,
My argument was, if he
it doesn't matter
is
if
all-knowing
humanists.
and all
It doesn't
powerful,
matter
he
if
must
they're
forgive
right.
me for
The
not
point
knowing.
is
I think
humanists
you
do
need to
not.
think
send me
through
to
what
hell.
you believe in before you come
Well,
around.
that's-
Because I already demonstrated that
You haven't
humanists
demonstrated
have
anything.
existed
For not
in the past, but they don't
only
propagate
thing
their
that
genes.
you have
They do not
demonstrated-
propagate their genes.
That's my
The only thing
argument.
that you have demonstrated is your opinions.
But you've done the
But
same.
you've only
No.
done is just giving us opinions. When you ask you questions, you have no answers.
Exactly.
I don't have an
You've got
answer.
opinions as well.
I don't have an
that's because
answer.
I don't know where you're
I'm
coming from.
agnostic.
I don't know where
I know
you're
you
coming
don't. I
from.
can
You're
see your
making.
loss. I can see
You
you
have a lot
not-
of opinions.
I do not know.
All right.
Does that
okay.
mean what?
I can see it.
All right. Let's establish
We
a
call
back
that
and forth
faith the lost
conversation.
lamb.
Like
Would that
the
be
young
helpful?
lady said, if you're
Hello,
God,
young lady.
when we die,
What
we
is the
don't
name?
know.
What is the name
He's
of
gonna
your
send
God?
us
Let's
to
start
hell.
with
But
that.
until you know it
he's known by
reason
many
is
names.
limited. You're in a box.
Give me one.
Your
Deus
God gave
Ex.
us reasoning.
Yeah, you can't. But reason.
And where do
told
I
you is
find
limited.
this
You don't
name
understand
of
reason.
your
No,
God?
we stole
Where
reasoning.
do I find
your
when
money on
we
Where do
invented
I
the
find
apple.
the name of your
We
God?
stole it. Because
you
before
can
that, we
look at
didn't have
Sumerian
anything.
texts.
We
Wasn't an
was,
apple.
Can you show us?
well, yeah,
Like fruit
it was a fruit, yeah,
from a magic fruit tree.
given to her by a snake.
Not a snake, a serpent.
A serpent.
I can
A
see the
talking
resentment
serpent.
with the way you resentfully speak about religion.
Because it's a
It
story.
No, because
Only
Fairy
because
tale
it's
story.
forcefully fed to you.
Say what's that?
Only because it's forcefully fed to you. There wouldn't be so much resentment if it wasn't so
I think
forcibly.
it's very tragic to see that when young children,
given-
for example, are given faith the wrong way. You see that many
Pardon?
times. When young children are given faith the wrong way.
Yeah.
Tragic.
Right, can I just say?
It's very sad. It's not good.
This chap here, he thinks because he speaks in a calming and soothing manner, it makes him correct.
What is that? What makes all correct?
Everything that you're saying is just your opinion, no matter how much you try
you
to
said
word
it's
it.
not
forcing anything on you. You say that be happy in your belief. Yeah, but whatever belief you're be happy.
Bear in mind, I haven't declared any beliefs.
But that's fine. That's fine. I thought,
I'm just simply up trying to find out where these two gentlemen get their beliefs from.
So you
And
don't-
what gives them the authority to
Nature.
Nature.
Yep.
Naturist.
So now you're a naturist. So you've gone from being
we
a
believe
Christian
in
to having
religion
a
because
God
that is how
to being a
nature
naturist.
works.
No, he and I have different beliefs.
I'm confused. Say that again.
Nature can only, if you understand nature, then you understand why religion is a necessity.
If you understand nature.
I don't
Do you,
understand
do
that.
you understand nature?
Yeah, I understand it's brutal and it's all about Darwinian selection. And in order for
So then
human,
that's not God, is it?
yeah, because
So
God,
Darwin-
So
Darwin-
you're
That's
making
not God.
a claim that Darwin is a religious person.
I'm saying that the patterns that we see in nature are just like absolute, and that is God.
Everyone stop like share.
That is God.
So God created the Fibonacci sequence that we all.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah. We cannot change the rules of the chess game. You know, we are pawns. and we have to accept our
No,
place.
we could change the rules.
How?
If we wanted to.
How?
Do you know what? These two are a couple of wind-up marches. Do you know what? They're just winding you up. Don't listen to
You're
them.
winding us up. You're just saying that. Oh, you're just opinions. You're just opinions.
Nature's God. This is God.
Philosophy of
Yeah.
science.
What is your God?
My God is
You're a
Deus
wind-up.
Pater,
You're a
Sol
wind-up.
Invictus.
Thank you for your opinion.
No, you are.
Are you making this up?
Nope. This is what the Romans believe. This is what the Celts believe. This is what the Saxons believe.
That's
You're a
paganism, that's
pagan.
before Christianity.
Right, but I'm saying that Christianity and
All right,
paganism
simple question. What's the
believe in
meaning of a
same
pagan?
laws
What's
of nature.
What is the
The
meaning
laws
of the word
of nature
pagan?
is not the laws of God.
Pagan,
They do two different
well,
things.
the word pagan is derived from the Christians calling the country folk who didn't believe in Christianity.
That's a
This is
history.
the big
That's not real.
question, isn't it? This is the big
Are you two
question.
together?
Huh?
Yes, no?
I didn't hear your question.
Are you two together?
Oh, he's a good mate of mine.
Yeah,
So you
we
seem to lean on
make
the
a good
Christian
comedy
side.
duo.
You lean on the Christian.
I don't lean on, I'm a Christian.
So you're a Christian and you're a pagan.
I don't lean on anything.
Christians and pagans.
Yeah, we both believe in we both believe in a
humanists.
we both believe in
Humanists all
we
living
both believe in a
on
Trinity.
under God's
You
word.
both
There's
believe
no
in the
hell in
Trinity.
paganism, though. That
No,
was
what kind of
the
pagan
hell
are
was
you?
a
I'm
Christian
a very unique
invention.
one.
It's not eschatological.
You're
There's no
making
end
this
game.
up, no?
Nope, I'm looking at
Because your
scripture.
pagan
We have scripture.
ideals.
We have scripture.
You have scripture.
Yep.
Where'd you get the scripture from?
Look at the Sumerian text.
Tons of pagan
You
scriptures
go,
around
you're
the world.
jumping
Many
from one
cultures.
thing to another. It's not
No,
cohesive
when you
at all.
hear pagan, you have this conception like
No,
No,
you
no,
don't.
no, 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 no.
No, you don't.
No, we don't.
Oh,
Because we
Preconception.
understand.
Because if you actually understand why everybody's known as a pagan or a heathen or a Gentile,
Yep.
you would know that everybody is a pagan, a heathen, and a Gentile.
Because
So
of
anybody
what?
that's not Jewish is a Gentile, a heathen, and a pagan.
Yeah, but if you have
Right. So
yeah,
therefore, the word pagan applies to everybody that's not Jewish.
but not necessarily. I could say Judaism.
The word Gentile.
I could say Judaism comes from pagan belief. You know.
The word Gentile. The word Gentile.
Yeah, exactly. We all have a similar connection.
Okay, a Gentile is somebody that isn't Jewish.
Right.
A heathen is somebody that isn't Jewish.
Right.
A pagan is somebody that isn't Jewish.
Right. So that's same Muslims and Christians.
We already know. I am.
What is your definition of a Christian? And where'd you get that definition from?
Well,
Simple question.
Well, it's hard because
No, it's not hard. It's very simple.
the early church had many different denominations of Christianity, and one won out after the Council of Nicaea.
Okay, all right. So, where do Christians get their belief from?
Typically from the Old and New Testament.
Which is known as the Bible. Now, within this Bible, can you point out a Bible verse that gives us the definition of what a Christian is?
I don't think I could point out a verse because, like I mentioned before, there are Christians who weren't Trinitarian in the early church, and Christians who are Trinitarian.
So,
there's
so
some
back
Christian.
to
There's
so,
some.
so back to the claim that I made that all you've got is opinions, right? And you can't back anything up.
I can.
Go on then.
Well, what do you want me to back up first of all?
Okay, so let me help
Well,
you
what's the
out.
definition
So,
of Christianity? It's a very
What?
broad statement.
No,
you
it's
know?
not.
Yeah, it is.
It's very simple. If you go into Acts 11:26,
Yep.
it tells you that the disciples were first known as Christians in Antioch. Now that was the only time the word Christianity was tied to the disciples.
But were they Trinitarians?
Again, the words that you're speaking is not in the Bible.
All right. People
So
say
therefore-
that you can't be a Christian if you don't believe in the Trinity of God.
Well, you keep saying-
whilst the
so-
early,
so like-
whilst
so-
the
so-
early Christians in Antioch, they didn't necessarily believe that Jesus, Spirit and God were connected.
So as I said, you're making a lot of claims and you're not backing it up. I've just made a claim that a Christian, the word Christian, was first used in Antioch to describe the disciples. That's according to Acts 26. So therefore, I've just made a claim and backed it up with scripture. Anybody can check it out. Acts 11:26. Right.
All right. So there's a board.
So therefore,
there's a broad group
you've just said you're talking about Trinity. Now show us in the Bible where the word Trinity is mentioned.
Well, there isn't necessarily. But
So
they-
therefore, you're
but
making
they-
up,
but
you're
they-
making things up.
Well, the Christians who believe in the Trinity.
No, you keep saying the Christians.
I'd say like the different denominations
Right,
of
so
Christians.
now you're just making accusations.
All right. So broadly, you say a Christian is.
No, not broadly. We want, where the hell do you get this definition from?
But it was in the Middle Ages.
Is it in the Bible?
St. Augustine. Well,
Is St.
in
Augustine,
the
is he in the Bible?
Testament there is a hint. It was a rough description of entity that has three aspects, and this was in the Hindu religion. You know, the idea of Trinity is 20,000 years old, and as you know,
Plato
I don't
also
know.
mentions the Trinity.
Saint
Plato also
Paul-
mentions the Trinity.
I don't know anything about the Trinity.
well,
But if you can explain it to
Saint
me,
Paul
I'll be
traveled
more
to
than
India.
glad to listen.
So obviously,
As long as you can back it up
he
with
brought
scripture.
some input.
So if you can back it
how
up.
how about I tell you the link of paganism and Christianity?
No, I'm not looking for a link. Either it's in the Bible or it's not.
No,
The heavily
about
edited Bible.
Either way.
Plato was the
There
disciple
are
of
many
Socrates.
versions of the Bible. So where do you get that definition from? And I'm not saying I know it. I've just given you an example of what I know, and I've backed it up with scripture. And all I'm saying is just do the same.
So why is so important where and when Trinity appeared in the Holy Scripture? Why is important?
Well, it's important because it establishes that the word came from somewhere, which is in the Bible. But if everybody's just going around making up their own interpretation and making things up without actually backing it up with the scripture,
Yes,
then you're just a headless chicken just running around making statements.
You're right about the fact that people throw concepts
Okay, all right,
that
so
are not really
in the Bible.
We don't know exactly where it started, but Saint Augustine is the first that talked about Trinity. Saint Augustine was a monk and he was
so essentially,
very literate
so
and wrote books.
So all I'm saying is, you're not wrong. I'm not saying you're wrong or right. What I'm saying is that whatever name you mention to do with the Bible, you have to back it up with a scripture from the Bible. So I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying you're right. All I'm saying is I've made a claim, right? And I've backed it up with scripture based in the Bible.
Yeah.
Now, all I'm asking for you to do is the same. If we're talking about the Bible, then all I'm simply saying is, where do you get that reference from within the Bible?
Yes,
That is
so
it.
now you are taking the position that if somebody doesn't have a perfect or a precise referral of what is claiming, that is not entitled to make the claim. That is what you're saying.
No. Okay. So, as I said before, I'm not saying you're wrong, and I'm not saying you're right.
Yeah.
Whatever you're entitled to, it's not for me to say.
Yeah,
But
you
what I
are
do
saying,
ask,
you are
what I
implying
do, what I
with
do
your-
ask.
with your argument, you are implying that I'm not. I'm not entitled to talk about religious concepts such as Trinity when I don't have the precise referral of the time when it appeared or in which book it appears. That's you have a very rigid position on this because according to your
now you're
point
just
of view,
now you're just taking it into a completely different direction. When my proclaiming is very simple. You are entitled to make any claim that you want.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But that claim has to be based, if we're talking about the Bible, that claim has to be based on the Bible.
Well,
if we're talking about, I don't know, for example, if we're talking about a book like 1984, and then I make a claim about 1984, which is not in the book, then I can't just turn around and say, oh, based on what I think this book is, and then insert my own opinion. It has to be based on what we're talking about.
But opinions are not coming out of nowhere. An opinion appears.
Precisely. There you go. It's
and
not coming out of nowhere.
It is
Precisely. You're right.
You know, an
That's it,
opinion
you're right.
is a personal matter.
Precisely. And everybody's entitled
Yeah.
to voice their opinion.
Yeah. So
But the
why
problem-
are you so rigid about the
nobody's
date
rigid here.
of the time when it appeared or
It's not.
the referral?
There's
the
not.
referral.
This is not rigid. This is just simply saying, simply asking if you're going to make a claim. Can you back up that claim? That's just it. There's nothing rigid about it. I'm not telling you to follow what I believe.
Yeah,
And I'm
but,
not telling you to not have an opinion or be entitled to anything. Whatever you might think that my question is implying, that's based on your perception. And I'm not asking you to see things the way that I see it.
Well, there are certain dynamics. In an interchange of ideas, there are certain dynamics.
Right, yeah, that's fine.
And
so if we're just
can
sharing...
I finish? What is the dynamic type of situation when you engage in a conversation? There are some principles like Trinity that have been around for 2,000 years since Christianity came into existence.
That is fair enough.
The fact that somebody doesn't have a referral of exactly at what time it came into existence or which book, it doesn't really appear to me as important as to maintaining the flow of the conversation. And if you say, no, I make a claim, but I know exactly it's in that book at a certain date, certain time, certain page, and the other person doesn't have the same precision in describing
Where to
Trinity.
refer it.
Where to refer it. So
I understand.
The other person,
I
by
understand.
the way, I'm an atheist, so I'm not interested in this.
No, I understand where you're coming
about
from.
the flow.
I
of the
understand. I understand.
Yeah.
But if we're gonna base our conversation on opinions, then let it just be opinions. Yeah.
Of course.
Right. But then if we're going to disqualify other people's beliefs or say that what the other person believes in is wrong for them to believe in based on your opinion, then I'm asking for you to prove, first of all, where that opinion comes from and why you think that your opinion matters in what another person believes. So all I'm saying is that if we're going to share opinion and ideas, then let it just be that. Don't just then turn around and say, oh, you've been abused as a child, and that's why you're rejecting my opinion, or trying to talk to an individual as if they have mental issues when you're simply sharing opinions. That is all I'm saying. So if it's going to be based on opinion, let it be based on opinion. But then when you enter into the realms of trying to prove that your opinion is superior to another's, then I'm going to ask you to provide me not just evidence, but what do you stand on? What book do you stand on, and what gives you the right? Right, that's why he walked away.
He walked away.
Precisely. So I'm just trying to explain to you, regardless of what you think is being implied, that is not what we're discussing. What we're discussing is if you're gonna have an opinion and then turn around and declare that your opinion is superior to another's, I want to know.
He said that his opinion was superior.
Well,
because his point of view.
That will go back to the implication thing, right?
Well, I heard the
go.
conversation from over there.
Right.
I might have missed something. But
No, you didn't miss anything.
His
I mean,
point of view
it was a good angle that you came in.
was, strictly speaking, to debunk somebody that is not in his line of thought. I believe he was quite strict in his way of trying to debunk a different line of thought. And I heard him in other videos. So
No, but the thing
he
is-
has this kind of attitude. But
you
your
have to-
attitude is not more flexible than his attitude, because you are insisting that if he doesn't have a precise referral, he is not entitled to talk about Trinity. Well,
No, that's
he
not.
can-
That's not.
You know, if you have a concept such as Trinity, and you don't have a referral, you can still say some people believe that Trinity is Father,
Right,
Son, and
but-
Spirit.
but at the same
It
time-
can give just a general knowledge about this concept.
Precisely.
While you want to stress the mega importance of books that
Well,
say
I mean-
things and their word is unchallengeable because
I
it's
totally
written,
understand. I
and
understand.
what is written is exposed to the criticism of millions of people.
Precisely.
Your point of view, it can only be criticized from other point of view that are opposed to yours. You know, that's the type of rigidity.
precisely.
Yeah.
But I will have to say that although that might be your stance, I don't completely agree with your angle on what we were talking about. Simply for the fact that if you're telling me that my point of view is rigid, then what do you say to a person that tells another person that science is ludicrous because his religion is more superior, which is essentially, in a nutshell, what the conversation was
Well,
about. So if you're telling me that my angle is rigid, but then his angle is, I don't know.
Now, this is a clash of the titan. You know what is a
No,
clash
I wouldn't go.
of the titan?
I wouldn't. say-
Now, Titan
wouldn't-
is
I
this. When there is a position
I wouldn't-
that is not open to expand a concept that has been in existence for so many years, then you narrow the conversation to a point where there is a clash and full stop, we don't go any further. You have to see what we
Yeah, I
have
mean, I
in common
understand.
as human beings, not what divides us as human beings. As human beings,
Yeah, now-
we
now-
have
now-
in common
now-
precise
now we're
projects
just-
of survival the best we can and fight for our corner. That is
Now-
what we have in common, not because I
Yeah.
think this way, you think this way, that's it.
Yeah.
We can talk.
Well,
that
well,
should
well, we
not
were-
be the case.
we were
This
talking.
is Speaker's Corner, we are here to talk.
Yeah, we were talking,
Not
and
to
we're,
clash
and we're still
against each
talking.
other.
Well, clashes, debating our views, it's good for the human soul. It's good to debate.
Of course.
It's good to debate,
Good
and that was what we were
communication.
doing. That's what we were
A
doing.
good interchange is like a beautiful wine that you enjoy thoroughly up to the last drop. That's what it is, the beauty of conversation.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I understand, but bear in mind that right about this moment, all we're doing is sharing opinions. Now, I haven't turned around and asked you to provide any
Give me
evidence.
an evidence of what opinion I have put on the table. What kind of opinion I've put on the table? Give me.
Well,
example.
it was your opinion. In your opinion, you said that I came at him from a rigid point of view. That was your opinion,
Well, it is an observation.
which
You
came
know.
out after you observed it. You gave your opinion on it.
So why would I all of a sudden come into the conversation and say your attitude is this? Why would I do that?
No. So, like I said, that was your opinion.
But why would I do that? People have purposes.
Yeah, because you're entitled to have an opinion, which is
Well-
what you said earlier on, and I did not stray away or stop you from having that opinion. In fact, I agree with that opinion, and I've explained to you that based on that opinion, I was coming at him from that angle, which I don't believe I was anyway. But let's just stick to your opinion. I was coming at him from that angle based on the fact that he reckons that that gentleman was not allowed to be a humanist and his religion was more superior.
Well, you're talking about his type of approach
Yeah. So
to a
you've
conversation.
given me your
My
opinion.
approach to a conversation is more into we are stuck in a gridlock of you say the referral, you don't have a referral. It's a gridlock. You don't go nowhere.
No,
so
we
how
were
we
going
can
somewhere.
get out and go beyond that?
But can I just point out that
type of dead end and expand?
Can I point out that everybody's cleared off now? Like, there's no one here now. It's just me and you.
So what?
So now we're talking about things. The people that we're talking about, they've all gone.
Because philosophy is something nobody wants. We are talking philosophy now.
Oh no,
People
I'm
don't
past.
like philosophy.
I'm past philosophy.
It is philosophy.
Yeah, I know.
When
I'm not
have a
disputing.
difficult.
I am not disputing.
What is philosophy
I'm not
after all?
I'm
Is
not-
asking why of certain things, and I'm asking why the conversation, the way it was managed, came to a halt.
Okay, it's halt. Everybody's left.
Why
That's it.
do you need an audience? You don't need an audience.
No. We're not talking about audience. We're talking about the people that were engaged in the conversation.
Because there
They're
are
off.
other meetings. So what? There are somewhere else.
Oh, you want to carry on with this?
No, I'm just saying.
I thought you wanted to.
I'm
I don't
just
know.
saying.
Yeah, and I'm saying I understand.
When you reach a type of communication, interchange, that reach a halt because it's stuck into repeating the same argument, then you have to question why it went into this dead end and how we overcome it and expand it with other venues.
So what I'm saying is, I agree with your wisdom, and I appreciate your input into the conversation.
Well,
So I agree with you. But in terms of philosophy, I am past philosophy.
why do you don't want to
Philosophize.
What is philosophy to you?
Something that I'm not really interested in. I'm not interested
Religion
in
is based, a big chunk of religion,
Yeah.
70% is based on philosophy.
Well, here's the thing, right? I don't believe. Okay, so in this world, religious groups. So you've got Islam, you've got the Catholic Church,
Yes,
and then you've got various religions.
yeah.
I don't believe in religion. I'm not into religion.
So you are just, you have made your own project. That,
No, I'm a believer. There's a difference.
you are a believer.
Yeah, I'm a believer. So there's a difference between religion and
Yeah.
belief.
Yeah, of course there is a mega difference.
Mega difference. Right, religion says don't eat this type of meat that is killed in that type of way. Religion says that you can only have married just one person. Religion says that you can't drink this type of drink. Religion says that you have to pray 1,000 times a day.
True, very true.
For me, I'm not into
Very
religion.
true.
I believe in a personal relationship
Yeah,
with Adonai and El Yeshua.
yeah. Well,
But I'm not into religion.
Religion is what I call the dead end. Because when you put restriction, rules and regulations, then people are stuck strictly into belief.
So,
And after all, because it's an organization, religion is an organization.
you've said the perfect word for it. They're all organizations.
They try to
And the thing is-
attract the crowds on a certain belief
Precisely.
of the imam,
See?
of the preacher, or,
See, now we're in agreement.
of the intellectual of the church.
I absolutely agree that religion is an organization and they oppose anything and anybody that stands in their way.
Yeah, that's why they aren't war
Which is
with
why-
against each other.
Which is why when that gentleman was saying that this person couldn't believe in science, I had to defend this person's right to believe
Yeah.
and practice whatever
Yeah.
he believes to be true.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So, as you can see,
Sorry, but
you and I
this
both
is
agree on the same
coming to
notions.
wait. Yeah, we agree about the fact that religion is based on opportunism, I would say, of some individuals that attracting a certain crowd make pocket money because they becomes an organization.
Yeah, well,
with,
I mean,
charity
I'm not disagreeing with you. I am not disagreeing with you.
But you have also to understand that, for example, all these conversations in the park are long, lengthy, and they stimulate a certain curiosity, but also certain verbal skill, because they all try to defend their agenda, you see.
Precisely.
By defending their agenda, they gain some kind of knowledge, maybe they might even expand a bit in the amount of knowledge they have.
Just give me 1 second.
So it's not negative.
Just give me 1 second. Yeah, sorry, go on.
So, what I was thinking, when in this case he has a different belief, he doesn't have a religion, this guy, but it has.
Well, I think that guy, that particular guy, I think that he has a lot of opinion on religion, but there's no basis to what he believes in my opinion. So that guy, all I heard from him was opinions.
Yeah, mostly opinions.
Yeah.
Yeah, opinions can be all right. The opinions are point of view, but they can be challenged and questioned, you see. So if you let him get away with this opinion after opinion, then it is your fault, because you should state in without uncertain terms.
Yeah, see, that's
stop this throwing at like machine guns opinions.
Yeah, well, see, that's
duty to stop him.
That's the thing, right? That's the thing, right? We have to stay away from the blame game. So you can't just simply say it's your fault, or it's his fault, or it's their fault. We all have to be responsible for the things that we say.
Yeah, but you're also responsible
for within this conversation,
creating an harmonious environment. If somebody is stuck in a mental rigidity,
if you allow me,
personal duty to say, hey, hold on, these are just personal point of view.
If you allow me
go beyond this.
If you allow me to just point out one fundamental fact, regardless of what situation you're in, and regardless of who created that situation, your response and whatever you declare will always be your responsibility, regardless of what the other person did. So no matter what you say and no matter who you blame, the fact of the matter still remains is that you're responsible for your words, your actions, and your response.
Yeah, but if you choose to interact with other people in a conversation,
regardless of what the situation is,
you don't have any kind of personal duty to make the talk flow in a harmonious way instead of being stuck in head-to-head.
So regardless of the situation, regardless of what happens.
Listen, this is impossible. With so many places that have to stay stuck.
Regardless of the situation, regardless of what is going on around you, whatever you say, whatever you do, whatever your response is, whatever your reaction is coming from you.
Yeah.
So no matter what you say, whether it's that person or this person.
Let me expand it into an example. If you see a grown-up man beating a child, how do you react? Do you allow the abuse to exist, or you call the police, because this is a very big guy and you might have to call the police?
Oh, anybody?
I see if it's working.
Oh, well, you're the special one. You're the special one.
So I give you this example. If you see abuse and you do nothing to stop the abuse, you become an ally of the villain that is inflicting the suffering.
Now you're talking about morality.
No, it's not morality. I'm talking about personal duty.
Which is based on personal morality.
No, it's not personal morality. My goodness, there are precise law that says to inflict physical pain on somebody that is not your size, it is against the law because it's recognized universally. Why did they abolish torture?
No, but
because it's recognized as a crime.
Your question.
A crime must be stopped.
We need to focus, Herman, on your question. Your question is if somebody sees another person being beaten, what would you do? So now you're putting a person's morality into question.
No, it's not. What is morality to you? It's not morality. This is recognized internationally by the human court, the international court
so
of
what
human
would you do?
rights.
So what would
So
you do?
it's not morality.
So what would you do?
It's a law, international.
What would you do?
Well, if I see that somebody is inflicting pain on a defenseless person, I automatically intervene out of personal duty. Personal duty is, to me, is revolting. What I'm seeing is disgusting. I don't want that horror to exist. Personal duty. Nothing to do with morality.
Right, now, let me give you an example. Exactly 1 year ago, I saw what I believed to be the mistreatment of another human being. I went into the intervene and helped the other helpless, what I believe to be the helpless human being, and I got arrested. So where is that personal duty that you're talking about, where I saw the mistreatment of another human being, I believe to be the mistreatment of another human being, I went in to help, but then I got arrested.
Well,
so where does that personal duty lie then, in your opinion?
In your case, there's definitely nothing about your fault. It's the law that is at fault. And then you have to rise counteraction, get some defense, get some help to counteract the police officer. I don't know
well, again, let me carry on explaining. It's all good and well standing here telling us what you're gonna do, but I've actually done it. I got arrested. I tried to get a defense, right? But it got me nowhere.
Yeah, now you're talking
based on my experience, you have to understand that.
Yeah.
It's all good and well for you to stand here and dictate and preach, right?
I'm not preaching, not dictating. I'm talking about an international law. You got hurt by defending hurt. To be arrested, my goodness, is hurt. Mega hurt to be arrested. If you give me an example that you applied this personal duty and it backfire, let me finish, it backfire on you, then you have to understand and figure out that there are flaws in the police officer that made the arrest, and therefore you have to raise a social conscience with the help of the press, the help of the institution, and fight back the arrest.
So as I was saying,
and this is called self-defense.
So as I was saying, now when I'm walking down the street and then I see what I believe again to be the mistreatment of another human being, and I believe it to be the mistreatment from my point of view, based on your duty, according to your claims of what a personal...
No, it's not mine. It's personal duty. We all have a conscience.
Okay, let me finish.
We have a conscience. The conscience always know the difference between right and wrong. And that's a fact.
Okay, so let me
We
finish.
might not be very clear about what is right, but we 100% know when something is wrong. It's a gut feeling. It comes from the guts.
So as I was saying, now, if I encounter that same scenario once again, what shall I do based on your personal duty?
It's up to you. People make decisions out of the situation, and everything is decided on the spot. It doesn't come from your brain, it comes from your conscience. Your conscience speaks louder than words. The conscience will tell you exactly how to react, how to intervene. But as an individual,
let me
because
just say,
we have a conscience, and the personal duty comes from the conscience. It's not up to me to say next time do the other way. Just I'm not a clown. I am talking about principles. You are talking about bias. When you refer to yourself as what you should do, it is a bias. Personal duty is part of the conscience, is based on principles.
So as I've said before, right, all of this is just opinions.
No, it's not opinions. Sorry, if there is an international court of law,
the moment you say no,
implies that you should not abuse a defenseless or weaker or for whatever
So
reason.
the moment you say no, it's not an opinion, then my next step would be to ask you to show me evidence.
Well, tell me what is an opinion then. What is an opinion?
See, now we're just
Where the opinion comes from?
We're just going into the realms of semantics.
It's not semantics.
No, we're going into the realms
Opinion is a
of
precise noun. It's a noun. It's not an adjective. It's a noun, and it defines a way of forming your own ideas on reality or what is going on in real world. That is an opinion.
Which we have been sharing for most of this conversation.
No, you have your opinions, I have mine, but these are subjective, because opinions are subjective.
All right, here's the thing. Here's the thing, right?
Non-truth. It is a non-truth because what I believe is my morality. What you believe is your morality. I have my morality based on my upbringing, on my struggles for survival, on my conscience as well. But basically, it comes from morality. Opinions are based on morality.
Here's the thing. It seems to me that it would be better for me to do more listening whilst you're talking, because I don't think I'm getting anywhere with this.
Well, because you, first of all,
and I don't
did not figure out that there is such a thing as conscience, probably.
Okay, so like I said, it's best for me to
I gave you my
listen.
definition of conscience. Give me your definition of conscience.
Yeah, so that's the whole point that I'm trying to make. It's better for me to just listen to what you've got to say, because I've told you everything. Like, I'm literally saying that I've told you everything I've got to say.
Yeah, first of all, it seems that you are not disinterested.
No.
In
what I'm saying is
going beyond a certain realm of conversation. So you have the interest on that. I don't know why, but you don't seem to want to disengage or end up the conversation.
No, not disengage. It's the other way around. Engage. So as I was saying, I've said everything that I need to say on the subject and the matter. Yeah. So what I'm saying is, thanks for engaging with me in this conversation.
Yeah, thank you.
And I appreciate you having this conversation with me.
Well,
but I have nothing left to contribute to this conversation.
Why? Why do you decide that?
No. What I'm saying is that
no way to contribute.
No. I've got nothing else to add to this conversation. I've literally said everything I need to say on what we're talking about.
But what about
so what I'm saying is, if you want me to stand here and listen to you, I'll be more than happy to do that. but I've got nothing to add to what we've got to say.
All I can say is this, to make a longer story short.
Precisely where I was getting
just make the long story short.
Yeah.
We as human beings come into existence, and our main priority is to improve, continuously improve.
Yeah.
But at a certain point, our struggle for improvements are hindered by the parents, first in infancy, by the school, by the environment, especially when we start working. And obviously, because we have to struggle, we tend to become judgmental. Judgmental is when we start thinking, but what is morality? Is my morality right? And have doubts. We start having doubts. When we start having doubts, then we want to know the ideas of other people and read books to form, to beef up our knowledge.
Formulate our
opinions.
Try
through knowledge. Knowledge definitely gives much more capability to survival, because for example, the sophists that lived 6 centuries BC, they knew already that if you know 5,000 words, you rule. If you know 500 words, you obey. So once we grasp that knowledge is very important for survival, we want more knowledge. And how do we gain more knowledge? Interacting with other people. And try to see that if have also their approval based on what we say, if what we say makes sense. And then we come to Speaker's Corner. Otherwise Speaker's Corner would not exist. We come here to have a way of putting to test our way of thinking. Our way of thinking can only be put to test if it is challenged and questioned. That's what you're doing right now. We were doing nothing else than challenging each other and questioning each other.
Oh, I must say that I promised somebody that once this camera becomes free, I was going to have a conversation with them. Would it be all right for me to go grab them?
Yeah, grab them, of course. Yes.
Yeah, but it would be a completely different conversation.
Yeah, of course.
So I'll say thank you for
But I just gave you a
I appreciate it.
nitty-gritty.
Yeah, I understand.
That's the reason why we had the conversation.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you.
Hello, Leon. Today I came to have a conversation about sexism in the park, and why in the park virtually I would say there is only one woman every 10 men. The majority are men. It's true that men are very much into arguing and challenging each other. Somehow they love confrontation, even if it's just verbal, and therefore we can call it sexism in the park, because women would rather have a peaceful exchange of ideas instead of arguments. And but some girls that were in the park said that they were harassed by the men in the park on different occasions. It's not my case. I'm glad to say it's not my case. I was only harassed on the basis of what I believe, and that really didn't bother me, because usually the idea is this, that the weak one in any kind of situation is the one who inflicts the injustice. The one that is at the receiving end of the injustice cannot be considered a weak one, because it's not harming anybody. A weak person harms somebody because he's miserable about himself, and misery wants company. By harassing or attacking other people, he vents out his anger, and obviously whoever is the receiving end of anger, if he answers back, he gives the reward to the villain that is attacking as offending verbally or trying to have the upper hand. And the reason why I wanted to have this conversation with Rashma, because Rashma was harassed in this part by male audiences, is that she comes from a different culture, and because she's a different culture, we wanted to have a tete-a-tete and showing what and why I ended up thinking my way and why she thinks her way, coming from a culture that is far more sexist than the culture I come from. And now there are two other gentlemen that are starting engaging in a conversation, and I hope to have this meeting with Rashma as soon as possible, weather permitting, probably next Sunday, because the discourse on women issue, women's organization is completely missing in the park, just like women are missing in the park, and yet they constitute half, even more than half of the world population, and that is a disgrace. More than half of the world population in a public space of free speech, women presence is in existence, or just non-visible, when in the past at least there were a few women speakers that have disappeared from the scene for the last almost 10 years now. Thank you very much, Leon. I give the platform to two other speakers. Thank you very much. Okay, I'm done.
From your
Man, say it straight. Man, don't listen to BBC. Man, don't listen to ITV. Thank you very much. And it was good talking to you as well. Thank you. Yeah, so like I said, whatever you can find on the subject, just throw into the conversation.
I'm trying to find this passage in Chronicles.
Okay.
It's in 2nd Chronicles.
Alright.
Yeah. 2nd Chronicles chapter 18.
So do you want to start it off or do you want me to?
Yeah, sure. Oh, well, no, you start it off.
Yeah,
It's
okay,
your
cool.
thing, isn't it?
Alright. So what's your name?
Richard.
Richard. My name is Kwaku, and I've got this gentleman here. His name is Richard. He's kindly offered to give me his opinion on a few Bible verses. Now, bear in mind that this conversation is purely based on our opinions on